I can do it. I can fake it for you. 3, 2, 1. This is Armored and Mon. You've just entered the Bear Calling Nation.
You just entered the Bear Crawling Nation on the No Agenda stream.
This is Armored and Mon, and welcome to the other side of live.
All right, go ahead.
Welcome everyone to the #1 late night podcast awards nominated dream hunting motivational show, otherwise known as The Other Side of Live. Tonight's working title is Dream Hunting, and tonight we are both alive and kicking it from the Connecticut School of Broadcasting in Charlotte, North Carolina. Wow!
And the crowd goes wild.
With me tonight, of course, is a plethora of people in this room, but also that star intro was given to you via the dark side of positive. That's right, Charles McFall. Say hello, Charles.
I don't say that word.
Well, say hello.
Hello. You know, it's funny. We got it all set up. We're in this beautiful studio. Got the radio board. We've been playing with it all night. And I'm all fired up. I said, ooh, I smell coffee. And I ran in there and I got to talking. And then he's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock on the nose. I'm like, crap, I got to go do a show. And I'm on their beautiful iMacs or their Mac. I don't know. This is whatever. They're Macintosh computers. And it's gorgeous. But, yes, I forgot to import the audio. I got everything else, dude. We got the – no, I don't want to – nobody has shut down. What is it with us and shutting down in the middle of a show? I do not understand this.
Are you shutting down the show?
No, something happened. They said, do you really want to shut down? I went, no, do not.
We don't want to shut down the show.
So, yes, we're enjoying the lovely technology at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
That's awesome. And speaking of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, we're here tonight for one of our The Other Side of Live, live shows, and there is a group of people. Let me say hello. Hello. Wow, that had to be the lamest response ever. Let's try that again. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my God. Okay, well, we're going to work on them. They're Night of the Living Dead here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. They're very shy, and everybody's blushing and being quiet. But if you want to call in and lend your own mouth to this joyful hello,
Hello.
you can call in at 218-632-1724. That's right, 218-632-1724. And if you can say it better than me, you win a prize.
Hey, do you see that we have a number in there already?
Do it? No, I did not see that.
Yes, sir.
It went away.
No, I've got it.
Do you want to open it up to us?
I want to try. I do not know who it is. So we're going to surprise. 336 area code. You are on live with us.
Maybe. Now's
your time to shine.
Hello, 336. If you're there, please say hello.
And then,
okay, 336. See ya. Boom.
So, this one did it before. Earlier, yeah, we're good. Yep.
So we're having a hootin', hollering, fun time here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. I have a hard time with the word Connecticut. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Why is it Connecticut School of Broadcasting? First
CSB.
All right, also with us in the room, next to my right, is the lovely Anna.
Hello.
We have Sharon Watson, who is not on the mic, just taking notes. We have BC from Losing Like Winners.
Word.
And we have Russell, the handlebar mustache man, who doesn't have a mic either.
Sure he does. Yeah, I could sneak over here and hop on this one.
There we go. So we have somewhat of a full house. And in the back we have, of course, Maggie Donahue taking pictures.
Hey, Mag.
Saying, peace out.
You need to lean in a little more. Apparently.
All right. Okay, so they can hear me. How's that? How about I bring it up to my mouth? There we go. So, as you can tell, we are the Podcast Awards nominated show, The Other Side of Live.
You're getting thrown off tonight, aren't you?
I am a little bit thrown. You know, without my intro music, I'm a little tossed. It's not happening.
Sorry, that was my bad. I mean, I'm setting up the broadcasting, setting up the phone calls, showing them how I did everything. And, you know, you just get to going, and you always forget one little thing. You went down the checklist of stuff that we do when I'm from the home studio, but pulling up the music is not on our checklist. It needs to be on our checklist now.
Okay. I will add it to it. Remind me later on, and we'll do that.
All right.
So, as I said, we are Podcast Award nominated. The voting's almost over. I'm so glad when this is done so we can quit talking about it because it's inundated our lives. And
I will put the holy hand of God on you. We love talking about being nominated because we love for you to go vote every day, once a day at the Podcast Awards. Because when we go to Vegas in January, we're going to be up on the podium accepting that award. So yay! Smile. Positivity.
Positivity. From me.
Are you in the chat room, Sharon? No. Okay, well, everybody's saying hi, Sharon. They're glad that you made it. Don't say hi back because you don't have a microphone, but it's okay.
So those of you who are listening for the first time, this is a live show, as you can tell. And the flop and twitch is brought to you care of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
All right, let's try our phone. Let's try our phone again. 336, you're on. There's something.
Hello, 336.
Hello.
Whoa. Sean turned that one up a little loud. That's okay. How can we help you tonight?
Wait, who is this, first of all?
Sarah in North Carolina.
Hi, Sarah. Sarah, are you the person that emailed me?
That would be correct.
Sarah, we were going to talk about you a little bit later, but you're here now.
We're going to read your email and talk about it.
We are going to.
You don't have to talk about me. I'm nervous enough.
Did you just want to call in and say hi, or you want to hang out until we get to your segment?
No, I was just calling in to listen.
Okay.
All
that
right,
works.
fantastic. Well, you know what? We may actually bring you back if we have questions for you.
Okay.
And your last name starts with an S?
Yes.
Excellent. All right.
All right, so that line is now muted.
Fantastic. Last week was TOSOL number 69 called The Ripple Effect with our guest, Doug Grady, who came in with a banjo, picking and a grinning and throwing. He's a speaker. He's a motivational speaker. He's a health enthusiast. He runs the Tough Mudder. He actually has a group that he calls Muttervation, and he's the head of the High Achievers Network. And actually, it has a new book called The Ripple Effect, and he was able to talk to us about that a little bit last week. And it had a profound effect on me, moving me forward past some roadblocks that I had set up for myself. Charles, what do you think about the show last week?
It was very motivational. A lot of great responses back from people. Doug was very interesting, especially when he gets fired up, and he was just going. We're going to look at having him back again. He was a fun guy to talk to, and you did. You got very motivated by it. You have brought a lot of quotes from that book this week and a lot of new ideas of moving forward. And thanks to him, I now have to do a conference in June. So that's awesome.
That's right. We're actually going to move forward with that and do our own little Success Freaky conference probably in the Atlanta area sometime in June. And maybe we can get Mr. Doug Grady to come in as a speaker. So are you really Instagramming a picture right now?
You're talking. I'm promoting. That's what we do.
That's right. So tonight's show, Dream Hunters. As success freaks, we are more than mere mortals chasing and catching our dreams. We are dream hunters. And as dream hunters, we need training, learning, the skills necessary to be the kind of person who achieves whatever dream we have. What kind does it take to be a writer? What kind of person does it take to be a mother, father, entrepreneur, race car driver, since I'm right now sitting in NASCAR country? What kind of person does it take for that? To graduate from the Connecticut School of Broadcasting and go on to have a fantastic career that is a shining star in your life. And yet sometimes you finish all the training and you're not really sure what happens next. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's on beyond the training. But the training does help you. It helps you recognize your opportunities. These opportunities are often always there. But if you don't know what to look for or how to look for them, you'll most likely miss them. It's like every time that you're thinking about buying a new car and suddenly you've picked out this one thing, whether it was a Volkswagen Rabbit or anything else from back then, suddenly you're noticing that kind of car everywhere you go. So suddenly you're seeing, and the same thing is true for opportunities. Suddenly you're seeing those same opportunities as you've been trained to look at those things. It's like Sherlock Holmes. Everybody's so amazed with how he picks up on the clues and how he knows everything. But if you think about it, we take in millions of bits of information and we process hundreds of them. So Sherlock Holmes is just able to process more. So we see all the same stuff he does, but he is able to actually put the things together because he can process more. It's also like where there's been cases where airplanes have had to make emergency landings on a highway. and they get down there on the highway and everything's groovy until the car plows into the plane. And then when the insurance adjusters are talking to the drivers of the cars, if they survive, they're like, I never saw the airplane. How do you not see an airplane on the highway? Because you don't expect it to be there. So you don't process that. You take in the information, but you don't process that. So the training that you're getting from whatever you're doing as a dream hunter, that training has helped you see those opportunities.
What he said. It didn't sound like you're...
As I take a break, just as Charles is taking a sip.
Yeah, drinking the elixir of life. It did not sound like you're asking me a question or setting me up for something. But that will lead into the email, which I don't have, so you'll have to read it as well.
That's right, and I will keep talking.
Okay, so I will... As you heard on the line, we have Sarah, who may or may not want to have her input in, but she did ask for a generic, or not generic, she asked for advice on her life and dealing with her career. So why don't you go ahead and read that email for us, sir.
All right. She wrote in to say, if you can offer a bit of advice for me, here's what's going on. I have my MBA and am working on a professional certification in human resources, PHR. I had good grades in school and felt successful. Last year I graduated and I finally got a full-time job in my career this year. I am struggling. I thought school was supposed to prepare us for this stuff. I have 2 bosses and 300 plus employees I report and respond to. I can't keep up. I've tried various systems so I don't miss deadlines or requests, and I have not found the perfect one yet. I can't get my coworker to train me because she spends most of her time stressed and upset that she is so busy. I'm a perfectionist and I crave approval. Ergo, it is easy to understand that I am struggling with my position. I can't seem to let things roll off my back. Can you offer some advice? This is just part of, or can you offer some advice? Is this just part of moving on to another stage of life? Thank you in advance for any words of wisdom you have to share. And little heart symbol. So, yeah, you go through your training, you get everything done, and then you get into your job, your dream job, or at least the one that you're hoping is going to launch you into this fantastic life, and you're in the middle of it, and it's not panning out to be exactly what you thought it would be. Or you're dealing with things that they just didn't cover when you were in school. What do you think about all that, Charles?
School.
What do you think about what she said?
That she said it. School does not prepare you for life. I was a former paramedic. I am a former paramedic, and we went through 2 years of training. 1 year for the first level, 1 year for the second level. And the whole time you're practicing putting your hands on everything. You're learning the medicine. You're doing everything you can to do it. And then you graduate, and then you go get a job, and you're just not ready. School gives you the knowledge. It gives you the tools that you need to work through everything, but it does not prepare you for life. It does not get you ready. You know what does prepare you for life? Just jumping in and doing it.
And that sounds like what she's trying to do right now. It certainly doesn't prepare her for the 2 bosses and the 300 plus employees and everything else that's being slammed her way. She's had some training to be able to walk into the job and to be able to walk through it a little bit. However,
sorry, I'm trying to give you subtle clues. It's however what, sir?
I'm cross-eyed now. However, it's not, obviously, it hasn't given her the techniques to be able to deal with all the problems that she's dealing with now. It's stressing her out. Well, it's bad. It sounds like she needs some additional training as well from her coworker, but they're not even able to do that. And I think I'm going to throw Sarah under the bus a little bit if she doesn't mind talking to us right now.
Before you pull her up, well, as you pull her up, I'll go ahead and say a few things. Your job does need to orientate you. It needs to teach you what they expect of you. And unfortunately, too many jobs in this world do not. They do not tell you, this is what we expect. This is how you can get there. What they do is say, oh, you graduated. Here's a half-hour orientation, which usually usually entails filling out your insurance papers and your next of kin and all this other tax information, right? Then what? Now you go and sit next to somebody who is just as busy and you're there to help them, but you don't know what you're doing. You have to take it just one piece of the puzzle at a time and do the best you can. And unfortunately, you have to learn from being yelled at for doing it wrong sometimes.
Right. That's how I've learned before, and I'm sure everybody else in the room has dealt with that as well. Right?
Yes.
There we go. So, Sarah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
I can hear the nervousness in your voice.
Glad it's obvious.
No, it's not that bad. Actually, so you're dealing with this at work, and it just, is it overwhelming you, or you're having a real hard time with what you once you went ahead and studied, and it doesn't seem to be working out the way you wanted to, or what's going through your head?
It's really just, it boils down to the fact that I am a perfectionist and I do want that approval. I want my evaluations to come back perfect because it is kind of that thing. I want to climb the ladder. That is my goal. That's my dream, to get somewhere where I actually make decisions that influence people. And starting down here at the bottom where I'm not making decisions, I'm not getting trained, it's a struggle for me. I feel like I've done a lot of things wrong, and I don't like having to learn by getting yelled at. I don't learn well that way. It stifles me, not motivates me.
Right.
So it's hard to give advice to someone like Sarah, because I've been there. You want to be perfect. You take it personal every single time that you do something wrong. Even if you didn't know it was wrong, when you find out it was wrong, you take it personal. I can tell you how I learned. I used to have to be the best. I used to have to be the first one out the door on the ambulance. I used to have to get the best reviews. What I have found is a good employee review, or a good teaching, as it were, is you want to find out what's wrong so you can fix it. Because if you get those perfect reviews, where are you going to go? Now, what is a weak tool is when they find something wrong because they feel like they have to. And that's kind of the job I'm in now, is I'll get the review and it's, well, we gave you a 3, and you do a self-review, and then they do a review, and I'm always putting myself honestly. If I think I excel, I'll put a 5. If I think I need to learn or do better, I'll put lower numbers. But there are many times when their numbers are way lower. I'm like, 2 is below par. I am not below par. Why'd you do that? Well, you could have done this one thing better over an entire year. Really? That's not below par when you have people who aren't even showing up for work. That's below par. So those are not always good tools. Reviews are not always good tools. But you need to look. You really should want to be corrected, right, Mordant? You should want that teaching, that where can I improve?
It sounds like you're at the place where you're just beginning with this career, and this is the place where you should fail. This is the, fail here, mess up here, make a big mess of it here, and learn these lessons now, whatever they are. I mean, maybe the people trying to teach you are not doing it in the best way, but this is where you should screw up, so that later on, when things are really, really on the line and you're really up that ladder, then you're not going to make those same mistakes. You're going to go, oh, this is how it was done. I remember watching In the Actors Studio, and the guest star was Laura Linney. And she was in Love Actually and a few other movies. But she was at Juilliard, and she was just not having a good time of it. And she's like, okay, I'm going to quit. And it was either a counselor or a teacher set her aside, and she said those same things. Fail here. This is where you're supposed to screw up, so that when your career is really on the line, you're not going to make these mistakes. And that's not the only thing. This also teaches you how to deal with that kind of failure, so that if you lead the perfect life and you never mess up, until someday later on when everything's really on the line, you make your first big mistake, it will cripple you.
Yeah.
So this also thickens your skin. Failure can be your best friend. Now, again, I have to reiterate that maybe the people teaching you are not doing it in the best way, but this is the best time for you to be making these mistakes. So my advice to you, and honestly, this seems like the biggest problem, cut yourself some slack. Get off your back. Because that's what it seems like the problem is. The problem isn't that everything's going wrong. You're new to this job. Of course there's some things going wrong. Sure, you should know everything right off the bat. Sure, you should be perfect at it. But you're not. Give yourself a break, especially if everybody else is coming down on you. You should be your own best friend here. Cut yourself a break. Sarah? Are you there?
That is so much easier said than done.
Yes, it is.
It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to feel it.
Can I ask, how old are you?
24.
Okay. Well, she was just out of school. I just trying to get, you're laughing and they can't see you. We need a video camera from down the hall in our window so we can record this and put it on the net.
I can't believe you asked you that question.
I did. I just trying to get a goal, because at 24, 25, 28, I thought I had to be perfect. And now at 35, after failing and failing and failing, but learning from those failures, now I can look back. I have that trial and error period that I can go, hey, I know that I messed up here, but I learned from it. So it becomes easier to cut yourself some slack going, the world didn't end today. Anna, right?
Yes.
You were making some symbols like you identified with how she is feeling.
Yes, I do. Well, I can. I mean, well, I have been out of work for quite some time now. I'm a mom. I have 2 children, so I can't quite relate to exactly what she's going through. But being just graduated out of school, I find it very hard to find the perfect job or the dream job that, that I've always wanted to get. But I know it's a struggle, and I'm just going to keep moving forward and pray for the best.
How do you deal with criticism? How do you deal with somebody telling you, oh, you went to school here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, right?
Yes, I graduated here.
Did you get 100% perfect marks across the board?
Of course. No. No, I did not. But I tried very hard, and I did the very best that I could.
How did you deal with the criticism or the correction even? It's not always criticism, is it?
No, it's not always criticism. And criticism is good, for the most part. That's how you learn. But it was hard. I mean, it's not an easy school, and it was new to me, being out of school. I have a bachelor's degree, but it's been quite some time, and I had children, marriage, and all that. So now I went back to school for something totally different. And but I've always loved broadcasting and media and all that. So, but it's a struggle. It was a struggle, and now I'm just trying to find the right job.
Have you been able to use your skills outside of this school yet? Have you been anywhere else?
I'm interning with NASCAR, a truck driver. So
Did you make any mistakes?
Not yet.
So you haven't,
I
you haven't had anybody coming down on you or anything?
No, not yet, not yet. But it's not an everyday thing. So.
Do you ever listen back to your own work and think it's not good enough?
I do, yes, I do. I criticize myself all the time.
Who's your worst critic, you or everybody else?
Myself,
yeah.
Yes.
I think that's Sarah as well, probably.
I think so, too.
That's me. I want to go ahead and speak to Sarah for a second. That's me. I work from home now. I have a job that pays me to stay at home, but that means I'm not in there with other coworkers. I'm not around supervisors and people giving instant feedback. So I'll go week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks with nothing as far as feedback sometimes. And then I'll get hit with this major whatever, we're upset because this doctor's upset, blah, blah, blah. And it's very hard because you start as you don't get that feedback and I'm in a job with a quota. And you're not meeting that quota. You're not matching that line that they set forward for you. You start to feel like a bad employee, a bad person. And you need that positive reinforcement feedback to say, no, you're struggling, but so is everybody else. You're getting there. I always, as a trainer, I tried to do that constantly with the people I trained is, you're new. Take a breath. You will get it. You don't have to do 20 reports a day. Just do 10, do 5, do what you can do, and the speed will come. BC, is it?
Yes, sir.
How about you graduated from here?
I did.
With honors?
Actually, yes.
Good. Was it
3 honors, actually.
Sean's fault or Maggie's fault?
My fault.
Ah, there you go. Looks from outside the room. What about you with criticism and your own criticism? Do you ever feel like you don't live up to what you want to do?
Every day.
You take it, does it keep you down or does it push you forward?
A little bit of both. Everybody kind of looks down when you have a goal in your life and a passion, especially for this industry that Connecticut School of Broadcasting teaches and what Sean and Maggie try to push you forward. And one of their quotes during school is, make your mistakes here. So that way when you go forward to a job that has deadlines and you're doing a live show like this, you don't have to worry about making a mistake. And so I have a lot of personal goals myself that I have yet to reach, but every day I get a little bit closer and a little bit closer, and I can see a progression. So that the goal is to always look forward, not backward. If I look backward, I'm like, I used to do that, now I can do this. And so every day I work on, another podcast, and then I write another show. I edit another video. I write some stand-up, so I got all my goals moving forward. But it does kind of get downtrodden when you're looking around, and I want to move forward in the career, and I feel like I'm sitting still at times. So it does get, like, what's next for me is the question.
I'll ask the room, anybody here. Does it help when you look back over where you started from, and it's 6 months, maybe a year later, you can look back and listen to or maybe, of course, not everybody listens. Tonight we're in the School of Broadcasting, so we have audio to listen to. 25 years, Tortuga Twins. You might not be able to listen back to show number 1 as a Tortuga Twin, Mordant, but do you ever look back and say, I know this is how it was when I started, or the earliest possible video you can find and go, holy crap, I thought I was great, and look how much better I am.
The comedy is completely different now. I began changing how I did things once we started doing DVDs, so I could actually see me on film, and I'm watching my two partners, Chef and Ron. They look natural, everything's fine, and here comes the overacting guy, and I'm just like, oh, hell no. I need to change quite a few things. So that actually helped me, and on some level, those DVDs shined a light on what I needed to fix, and I think the same thing is true here with what's going on with Sarah, is that some of the things that she's having to deal with, it's shining a light on those areas that she needs to work on, whether or not she may like how it's coming at her. I mean, if somebody is yelling at me about something that I've done wrong or a situation, either I need to learn not to do that anymore, or I need to learn how to deal with people like that. Mm-hmm. So either way, it's an opportunity for me to learn. And if I'm having a hard time with that, it's shining a light on my weaknesses, shining a light on the chink in my armor that I need to take care of. So that's what those DVDs did for me early on, especially. And I think that this is an opportunity for Sarah as well. Even though she may not like what's going on, you're either gonna suck it up and learn from this and take this as an opportunity to grow, or you're gonna roll over and say, I can't do this anymore. I might as well. I'm in the wrong job, or I'm never gonna be able to deal with these people. And if you find that you go to another job and you have the same problem, and you go to another job and you have the same problem, the one common denominator there is you. And you're going to need to deal with yourself, especially if you're giving yourself a hard time in this. Especially if you're not giving yourself a break in this and saying, hey, look, I've got a lot of areas that I need to grow here. I'm not perfect, but it's giving me an opportunity to work on this stuff. And that's why it hurts, just like working out. When you work out on with something, it causes pain, and the pain is growth. That's what this is. It's pain, and it's growth for you. It's an opportunity to grow.
You know, Alex of 7th Row Center is in the chat room live tonight on mordantworld.com/NAS or theothersideoflive.com/NAS. He is listening on the net, and he puts in, getting the feedback, both positive and negative, helps push me forward. Negative is hard to respond to. It just is, right? It makes you withdraw. It makes you seize up. And you, Maggie, need to pick up a microphone. We're going to ask you a question here in a second as you get comfortable. Yeah, we'll turn that one on. Or then come in here. All the sign language. Sign language is great on the radio. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that single-digit sign language that we got. We're number one. Yay!
So, but the negative makes you withdraw. It crushes you, whereas positive will pull you forward. But either way, you're talking about the pain, Mordant. When you first ever get burned by anything, your body should instantly go, I don't want to do that again. Unfortunately, that makes us maybe not do our jobs well, instead of, how can I do it better to not get here? Sometimes, Sarah, doing the right job gets you yelled at because they don't know what they're talking about.
Right, and then especially if you're getting challenged like that, you slip into that fight or flight mode, so you can't see the other opportunities. What are the things that you can do to fix it? It's either knuckle down and knuckle up, or hit, start running the other way. Instead, if you feel safe, if you feel secure, you're able to see the other options that are in front of you. Oh, instead of yelling back at this person, I could just take in and see what it is that they really need. But unfortunately, usually at that time, most of us aren't in that mode. We're in fight or flight. So if you can find a way to calm down, especially to silence the chatter going on in your own brain, that you're putting yourself down. You're a smart woman. I mean, you've gone through all this training. You've gotten this job. You deserve to be there. You're a smart woman. You just have to believe that and move forward and say, hey, look, I'm smart enough to do this job.
You said in your email that you're not able to hit the deadlines, that you're not keeping up with the emails, and that the person who's supposed to train you isn't either. That's a sign that you're both swamped. You're not the only one who's not doing the job that you want to do.
Right. It may not be you. It may be the system that's faulty too. And maybe you're there to find a better system, to create a better system. Hey, this doesn't work. Let's make something so it does.
So I want to make sure you're Maggie. Yeah, step up. You have mic too. You are one of the instructors here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
That is correct.
All right. So as an instructor, as you've been sitting out listening to what we're talking about, how would you instruct, as you had students here in the room now, how have you instructed your students to deal with the criticism, to deal with, I'm not making it?
Well, I kind of fall back to, because I've only been instructing for about 4 years at the school, and I actually fall back to one of my first experiences out of school and in the professional world myself. There was a time where I felt the exact same way as Sarah's feeling. And all my students do as well. So I kind of fall back on this story. I was kind of given the same daunting tasks that she's talking about. This, and this need to be done today, and they need to be done perfect, and there's no other way you can do it. And unfortunately, the negative feedback comes after because you're new and you don't know exactly what you're doing yet, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But one thing I remember doing that helped a lot was I started to align with my higher ups. I started to understand where they were coming from, that they weren't necessarily mad at me specifically. They were trying to get a job done too. And they were, I guess, depending on the people below them, not like in a business sense, not in a personal sense, but the people below them to make decisions on their own and move it forward so we can get a job done. I started to think a little bit more on their side of it. They're the guys who have to get yelled at by their boss's boss's boss. As soon as I kind of started not just making friends, but starting understanding where my bosses were coming from, my higher ups were coming from, that's when it immediately started getting okay. Because you start talking with each other. I really do think communication is key when it comes to that. So instead of having, like, my one piece of advice for Sarah as an instructor would be to have a little bit, have a conversation with someone. Don't just kind of sit on the feelings. Don't just kind of sit on the all the negativity that's happening. Say, hey, we have to get a job done here. I know I didn't do this right. What can we do to make it better? What can I do to help make your job easier, even after my work is done? Those types of things. And I usually tell that story to my kid. I call them my kids, and most of them are older than me. But I usually tell that to them just to kind of make it. It also makes the atmosphere a little bit more friendly too.
So what you're saying is not to be negative, but they didn't hold your hand. They expected you to do the job, and you learned by putting yourself in their shoes to see. And then of course you started a dialogue of how can I help you, which makes them go, oh. Well, that's awesome.
Wait a second. Now, this person isn't just someone who I get to go, hey, give a honey-do list to, and they get to go off and do it, and they do it wrong, and then you never have a dialogue about it. Have the conversation. Have that, okay, I know I did this wrong, but what would you do? That kind of stuff. Have that. I know that they're your bosses. I know that they're the higher ups, and they might not be that easy to talk to. But starting that conversation, even if it's a slow, over a couple of months period, start the conversation. Start seeing your bosses as human beings, and they're not infallible either.
That's true.
Right. Absolutely. And that's going to enable you to back off of yourself as well, and cut you some slack, because then you're instead of concentrating on what you're doing wrong, what's the problem here, you're looking for a way to help somebody else. You're looking for a way to make the business or whatever you're in more efficient, and you're looking at how to be a part of the solution as opposed to just wallowing in the fact that you might be a problem, because you're not. It's just your perception. As you said, it seems like everybody else is dealing with the same kind of stuff in your business there. So you're not the only one. So that's why I think the system itself may be faulty. So if you can lend yourself as part of the solution, saying, hey, what can I do to help? Then you're going to start feeling good about yourself, even if all you're doing is helping to point out what's wrong. That's like when everybody complains about, oh, I don't need to vote because my vote's never going to count. Well, even if your vote is just there to point out that the system's broken so they're forced to fix it, then you're becoming part of the solution. And that's why you should vote.
And I thought after we got past that election, we're dropping it for at least 3 years.
At least 3 years.
At least 3 years, if not 12.
The reason that we named this session Dream Hunters instead of something else, instead of just, hey, our time at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, shameless plug. The reason we named it Dream Hunters is because those dreams are sometimes elusive. We may think that we've been following the trail. We found dream spore and tracks, and we're chasing it around. And yet when we get to the place where we think we finally got our big, we've made our big score, the dream's not there. So you have to find some other way. Maybe you have to go and look for better hunting grounds. Maybe the dream has left that place, or maybe the tools that you're using are not the right tools at that time, and you have to do something else with it. The dream is elusive, so we're dream hunters, and what we work on constantly, not just the beginning, not just when you go to school, even beyond training, is your skills.
Maybe this is the hard time that you think sucks, but it's toughening you up for harder times to come.
That's right. Maybe it's training you the best way.
Yes.
Maybe it's just training you how to deal with this day to day and keep a smile on your face. And I know that sounds kind of Pollyanna, but really everything that we seem to be talking with you is mostly about your perception. Sarah, you still there?
Yes.
So do you have any comments or any feedback on anything that's been said?
Or any other questions?
I'm really glad you guys did hit on the perception, because I think that is kind of where I don't want to say problem, but where my struggle lies right now. Because I do have communication with my managers and kind of where I stand on things and what their expectations are, and beyond that, how it factors into the whole system. But I do have a perception thing. I mean, I do work in human resources. I see everyone's evaluations. I see all employees. I know all of them because that's my job. And there's definitely a comparison thing that goes on, because I can't help it. It's human nature that I would see someone else who I think is either doing a job better or worse than me, who's graded higher or above. And regardless of what I'm doing, I'm going to put myself in comparison with them. I do one little thing wrong, and it becomes a huge deal in my mind because I start thinking about where everybody else stands. So I'm really glad you hit on the perception, and kind of cutting myself a break and learning how to fail might be something that I really need to focus on.
You have to realize this is not a competition. It's not a race. You don't have to beat everybody else. One of the speeches that we work on together more than tonight is helping others be awesome. And once you get that one paradigm that says, it's not me, I don't have to beat out everybody else in the room to do a good job. If I help them do a good job, they'll help me. If I realize that I'm doing the best I can, and I ask. Alex, again, in the chat room said that don't bottle it up. If there's something wrong, say something. And at first I didn't think it fit what we're saying, but then I realized it's opening the lines of communication. When you don't know, ask. When you know something that somebody else needs to know, tell them. What Maggie said about opening up the lines of communication with your bosses, asking them what they need. I found that I did that with my bosses, and I'd go to them and I'd say, I don't know how to do this. Show me how to do it better. Take 5 seconds, and they would do it. Because they want to teach you most of the time. Now, you may be unfortunate in being in a job where they don't. I don't know. Most of the time, human beings, they want you to do the job right? As everybody nods. That's awesome. But they do. They want you to succeed, because if you don't, then they have to deal with you. You're a problem. Most corporations, most jobs work from the top down. As in, if there's not a fire, I don't have to deal with you. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. I've had to deal that way sometimes too, where it's so busy, there's so many fires to put out, the good news, the good stuff gets missed. So when you go up and say, hey, I want to do it right because this is one less fire you have to put out, they will take 5 minutes to help you out. Now, she was talking about using systems to meet deadlines. Do you want to ask her a little more about that? Maybe we can give some practical tips.
Yeah, exactly what kind of systems are you using when you're dealing with your deadlines? I mean, what are you doing to keep on track?
I'm still figuring that out. A lot of my job right now is very tactical. As a human resources assistant, I mean, they're small tasks, but they add up. So by the time I get through one task, I've forgotten what somebody else over in the corner requested 5 minutes ago, and I'm moving on to the next thing. And unless I write it down, make a note, I don't get back to them. Is
there a reason why you don't write it down?
I'm not. Either someone stops me in the hall, or a candidate stops me in the middle of orientation, or it's kind of like that waitress mentality. If someone stops and asks for the ketchup, and then by the time you get back to the kitchen, you're taking someone else's meal and you forgot somebody else's ketchup. Yep. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, I was always amazed. I've worked as a waiter before. I was always amazed at people that could walk up to a 4-top, a 6-top, an 8-top, put their hands behind their back, and take a complete order. I have ADD, so you get a little bit down the road, down the roadmap, down the list of the menu of what people want, and I've lost it. I have to take notes immediately. And I would actually get pissed off when friends would say to me, well, you need to write this down. I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. Honestly, I did. And I would lose those things, and I had to keep messing up enough times for me to finally learn, yes, I do need to write this down. So maybe one of the things you need to do, and this sounds simple, and it may make you feel like you're not going to feel great about it, but the truth is, carry around a notepad with yourself, or a voice recorder, or even talking to your phone and say, oh, I got this, blah, 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 blah. Give me a second while I write this down. Give me a second while I record that. And then you can send that as an email to yourself so you have a note. You're going to lose a lot less things. If one of your problems is that you're losing what people are asking of you,
like you just did?
Like I do. No, I had two or three different thoughts on what to say. Cut yourself some slack again. Have your own back. Don't set yourself up to fail. Set yourself up to succeed. Grab that pen and paper and go, I have to write this down. Don't be so proud. Don't have so much pride that you're not willing to do that. Now, that was my issue. I don't know if that was yours, or you just haven't done it yet. But take it around with you. You should do that.
Rathburn in the chat room says, to Sarah, perfection is great for those who work for themselves, but in a large business like it sounds like you're in, perfection, and I got to say, she used your appropriately like I would not, so all the grammarians, she got it right there. Nobody? No, okay. Now I lost it. Okay, you're it. Perfection just needs to... Perfection needs to be redefined to fit your work position. It's all right to ask others to give you limits to what they need. Alex suggested if somebody stops you in the hall, tell them to email it to you. I know a doctor who is the head of her department at a school that's local to me. She oversees a lot of people, has that same issue. Walking through the halls, oh, Dr. Wells, can you do this? Dr. Wells? And they'll call her at home on the weekend, and she was sharing this story. She says, I leave my work at work. I leave my literal briefcase at work, and then they'll call me on the weekend. Dr. Wells, did you handle this for me? She said, did you email me? Well, no, I said, then it's not on me. It's on you, because I'm not bringing the briefcase home because it's full of crap. It's my weekend, but if I can have it in front of me on the screen, I can do it. I'm going to go ahead and pimp out a free app. If you have an Android phone, I'm sure there's an equivalent on all the other phones out there. I just downloaded it the other night. It's called...
Reminders.
No, it's called Easy Voice Recorder. Easy Voice Recorder. It's free. There's a pro version that I did buy, but the free one does everything. It takes 2 seconds to open it, hit record, and then record a memo. And then you play it back in the same app. You don't have to email it to yourself. You can go, what did they need? And then you hit it. Because none of the other mics pick that up at all. Not at all. But you basically use Easy Voice Recorder. You can record it right there, 2-second memo,
That's awesome.
Stop it, hit playback if that's the way you work. Or go 1980s and get a rope around your neck and a notepad. You pull it up and just write it down.
Sticky notes.
But you, like Alex said, you can put it on somebody else. You want it done, email it to me so I have it in writing.
Can I add something to
Go
that,
ahead.
sir?
No.
Okay. I got a yes and a no. I need there's a swing vote here. For me, I do write everything down, and I also have a military background, and one of the biggest deals is you make yourself a checklist like you guys have, and you go down it. But since you have more people that you're dealing with, since you have bosses and you have people below you, you need to prioritize that list too. So make sure you're taking care of big things quicker than the little things. It's easier to take care of those quick little tasks, but it's also taken away from some of the time of the bigger tasks that may take you longer. So then you're at work longer for that.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever I'm a big fan of lists as well. And sometimes it's not enough for me to make a list for myself because I'll still look at it and go, oh, I don't know which one I want to do first. If I'll take 5 minutes and sit down and go, this one first, this one second, this one third, feel which I feel is most important or which one am I most not wanting to do, because that sometimes is the one I need to do. Now, I still give myself the freedom to go, no, this one, as I'm working down the list, to go, no, this one is the one I should do next. That's fine. But if you prioritize and you really don't know, I don't know which one I want to do. Well, I said this one was number one, so I guess I have to do that one first. So that will help you if you're making lists.
Ooh, you know what else helps her? Every Tuesday night we're live, and we'll give her more steps to live by.
Boom, baby.
What else?
I like that one the best.
Hey.
You can stay.
Priority one right there, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, Sarah, I hope this has helped out a little bit. Is there anything else that you want to throw our way that we can throw back at you?
Not that I can think of. This has been very helpful.
You're welcome. And do me a favor, please Google SpeakPipe, because I know you sent me an email because you couldn't find it. If you could leave us a message like that, we'd love to be able to
Why
play
would
it on
you
the...
Google it? It's right down the side of our page.
I told her that. She couldn't find it.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering if she can see what it looks like, then she can find it on her page.
We also have a phone number, 206, if it still works. We haven't used it in a while. We've been doing the live thing, and people aren't doing voicemails as much.
Right.
But 206-666-5458. We'll get the voicemail. You'll get
Dude,
a nice
I don't
robot.
even know that number.
Yeah, that's one I brought with me from way back.
From way back in the
From
way back.
way back. So what else you have in your notes? I know that's...
Well, I want to say thank you, Sarah. We'll leave you on the line here, but I want to talk to some of the people in the room about some of their endeavors and how they've moved beyond. I know that Billy has his own radio show, and Anna is co-hosting that radio show. How is that going? How did you progress from Connecticut School of Broadcasting and everything they trained here into that? And are you doing anything else with your training?
Yes, I have a list that I started with. During school, the first thing you learn is speech and diction and radio broadcasting. And so one of our instructors here is a local DJ. And so he teaches all that. You do a morning show here and all of that. And so when I came here, originally I wanted to do radio. And so after right before I graduated, I had started my own semi-podcast with another student here. And it was originally called Slackers, but that name is taken apparently. So
by some young go-getter.
So Slackers Radio was taken, so I changed it, and I've always had a nickname called Loser One, which is an oxymoron. It means that losers are always winners, so I put it Losing Like Winners, and it actually started off as a blog, cause ironically they teach that here too. And so I started off as a blog, and I started putting that on there, so it's losinglikewinners.com, and it started off as just I had a way I want to do it with some comedy and then some songs. And one of the other guys, he's a big nerd, so he had like a nerd section where he talked about comic stuff. And I switched it up a little bit so I could have different guests. So other students could come in that are still students because I graduated, and I wanted some students to come in that wanted to get some mic time and just, to get more practice. Because after you're done with your radio portion, you go straight into doing TV stuff. And so you forget how to run a board or stuff. So they would come in and have fun with it. And I had some other celebrity comedians come in. I was doing an internship at a local news talk radio station where I learned how to do different things and didn't run the board and stuff. And I got in trouble for something. Well, I didn't get in trouble, but I was told I had a big ego. That's good. But I did all that kind of stuff to progress where I am now to where I want my own show. And since this is a bigger market, it's kind of difficult. But I also do video editing too, so I try to stay very busy.
You got a lot of irons in the fire then. You've been doing a lot of stuff since you've left here.
I do. Since I graduated, I've started working with the Comedy Zone. They have a late night show that they produce, and I help edit that, and I do run their soundboard for that live. And then I come here, edit it, and then it goes on public access. Here I do one time a week I do my show on Losing Like Winners, and me and Anna do that now, and I still do mostly comedy. She's been my co-host for a good couple of weeks, and she's been...
I'm the winner part of that.
Yes,
I thought he was going to say straight man, so I was waiting for that.
But it's been a long process to reach my goal. By the way, caveat, Dream Hunters sounds like an awesome reality show.
Yeah, right?
They got everything else.
There we go. That would be our documentary. As the road to...
As we're
success.
outside here in the bush looking for that elusive dream. So
better than Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. That's a good show.
We can find our dreams. You never find the ghost.
That's right. I think I
You
heard
never
a
see
wisp.
them.
I have a couple of different dreams, and so they're all in slow progression. But it's because I don't want to narrow myself to one section, because if I do, then you get blinders on to where there's another opportunity that could be open. And people are like, hey, you're good at this. Why don't you try it? If you try it, you may like it. Like originally I wanted to do radio. I've never done video editing. I've been talking my entire life, believe it or not. So it comes natural to come in here and start doing comedy and stand up and video editing. I was like, this is actually pretty fun. So I started doing that. And so I want to do a lot of things, and it's kind of like whichever door opens first, but they're all big dreams and goals. So that's what I've been doing since I've been, left school.
So even after you left school, you're still learning. You're not. Look, I've learned everything I need to learn. Now I can have a great life. It doesn't work like that.
Another shameless plug for this school is that this school is always open. I graduated a couple months ago, and I graduated almost a year ago. And the school, I still come here at least 3 or 4 times a week to use the studio.
Oh my God, you're like the Glee kids come back.
Well, except we don't break out in song. Yes.
Exactly. Not yet, anyway.
But yeah, we're working on it. But we come back, and if there's anything like she learned a different editing software than I did, so she can come back and learn that. I come here and use this studio, and all the other graduates, they come back and use the studio to do their podcast. I can use their software and all that kind of stuff, use their cameras. And so until you get your dream job, you can come back here all the time, and the instructors help you out a lot. If they get a job lead, hey, this radio station has an opening, you should apply for it. And they, we got a good guy here that teaches resumes, and he wants you send him your resume. He goes, hey, change this, 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 and this. And so it's really good, but until you find that. Yeah. But until I find my dream, I can always come here and continue to build on it, because, I mean, I'm never going to be perfect, but I can get a step closer each podcast I do.
That's right. And remember, this is very important to dream hunters. Remember that sometimes this thing that you want, you may get exactly what it is you want, but it's not going to look like you think it is. When I first started doing this and working with Charles, I certainly didn't think about doing a live show, and now I'm doing a live show. I certainly didn't think about being in this studio, and yet here I am in the studio recording my own show. I certainly didn't think about that we're going to move on and start doing conferences for success freaky, self-helpy stuff, and yet we're planning on doing that next year. So I'm getting everything that I want, but it didn't quite look like I thought it would. I certainly thought that I was going to Vegas, but I thought I was going to be speaking. Maybe I will, but now I'm going because we're going to go because of the podcast awards. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting exactly what I wanted. It just doesn't quite look like I thought it would. You have to be flexible when it comes to that. And you have to give yourself a break when it comes to that too, so that you can claim those victories, so that you can hold on to that joy, because otherwise you're just going to think your life sucks. Look, I'm not getting what I want. Yeah, you are. You are getting what you want, but you also still have to put in some more work so that it could shine to that thing that you really wanted it to be, or so that whatever it is that you thought you were working on becomes something even better. So keep that in mind too. We also have our friend Russell Bennett in the room, who has made such a life change with what he was doing. Can you tell everybody what you were doing before you started doing this whole acting thing?
Before I was acting, and I'm still doing it, I still have my regular job that I do every day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whenever it works out to be. And it's good. It pays the bills. I enjoy it, support my family and my son. But I've always wanted to do something a little bit more. So I started getting interested in acting, and I finally took that first step. Started working at the Renaissance Festival.
How long ago was that?
That was actually, this is my third season, so really it was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In those 2 years, I took a step onto stage next, started doing some film work, and from there I also started doing improv comedy. So I worked with an improv comedy troupe, and even now, most recently, I've started doing something I never thought I'd be able to do in public, and that's actually singing in public. So I have a troupe together that I work with at the Renaissance Festival, and we're even starting to get bookings throughout the year for the upcoming year. And most recently I did stand-up comedy and took that big step, which is probably the scariest thing I've done yet.
So this is just 2 years ago that you went from having an inkling of an idea to, I kind of want to do some acting, and doing the Renaissance Festival, which is like acting with training wheels, I think, even though I work there. It's pretty supportive and pretty easy, to stepping out on stage, to doing film, to doing stand-up. 2 years. And Russell sounds like a very soft-spoken guy, but he's a tall beast of a man. And he's taken his life and definitely carpe diemed his way into a new world for himself. So has it been worth the effort?
Every bit of it, yes.
Now, when you first started doing it, did you make a lot of mistakes?
I did. That's part of learning. You can't learn without making the mistakes.
And if you were down on yourself about that the whole time, would you think you would have kept going?
Oh, no. You just got to pick up, learn from the mistake, and do better next time. And that's, it's the only way you develop and grow to be better. Obviously, I've done the same thing with watching DVDs of myself or things like that, where you go, okay, so maybe I don't need to be that crazy or flamboyant.
It feels cooler than it looks. Great. I need to change that.
The biggest thing is, you do overact a little bit more on stage in a theatrical production. So when I started doing film, I realized I'm going, whoa, I'm way overboard. I need to tone it back a little bit. So every step you have to learn a little bit more. The improv, people think, oh, it's easy just to step up there and go, no, you don't have any script and you're just working with a group of people on the fly.
Yeah.
And like I said, even scarier is the stand-up, because even though you have a script, you're standing there alone with 100 people staring at you at times. So it's...
How many times have you done stand-up?
Honestly, I've only done it once. But I am going up north. I'm going up north next week and looking at possibly doing some stuff in New York City or in Connecticut.
New York City!
Yeah.
Wow.
See if I can do some stuff up there.
So, and this is all about finding your target, you know, seeking out your prey, dream hunters, and being willing to put yourself into some uncomfortable positions, whether it's because you have to learn or because you have to, you know, take a chance and put yourself way out there, or travel hundreds of miles to go somewhere where people may or may not like you, and yet you're doing it because that's part of your process. So the schooling does not end when you step out of school. It's just the beginning. You got to cut yourself some slack. And remember, you're a dream hunter, and you're hunting a very elusive prey. That's why you keep going.
You know, going with the hunting metaphor, school is buying the gun, is buying the ammo. Or I was going to go with the mechanic. School is buying the tools. But you got to get out there and use them to really figure out what works. You can be shown everything in the world of how to do it. I mean, that's what this school is all about, right? Are you getting paid for your board ops?
Everything I've done right now has been pretty much free. Like, I've done exchanges, like some of the comedy
That's our timer.
Some of the comedy school stuff. You know, I got comedy school and I get tickets to comedy shows and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the only payment, is like trading, hey, you know, come help us with this, and then later, eventually, if their show gets picked up, I'll get picked up with them. But right now, no, I'm not.
But not as a talent, as the producer or
both,
whatever.
because I'm doing the behind the scenes stuff, and I'm getting into stand up too. So eventually, more stage time.
Sure. And you're not, Anna.
Anna.
Yeah, thank you. You're not getting paid either yet.
No, I'm not.
But you're still working at it.
I'm still working at it.
I'm forcing her to every week.
There you go.
So you guys actually work together on the same show.
Yes.
Do you have a side gig other than working with him, as far as this kind of thing?
No.
So you guys working together? Okay.
Yes. She graduated before I did, and I asked her one day, hey, will you come in, be my co-host? And she's been there for, I think, 4 episodes now. So.
And you know, going back to Sarah, you know, human resources might be her dream. She got degrees, and she's working there. She starts at the bottom. This is the training. I mean, you guys started doing recordings here, started doing the practice broadcasts, whatnot. I started doing just podcasting. And you go back to the beginning, and man, it's horrible. You know, but you practiced, you learned. I figured out tonight, I'm going to year 6 of doing this straight, and still haven't got paid. You know, still work, but I've moved up and up and up to where I'm able to teach people new things. I'm able to show them some new things that I'm doing with podcasting here. I'm working with the No Agenda stream that we're on tonight, and we've gone from just posting it on a website to doing it live on a stream that 10 people listen to. It's awesome. Right. But no, I mean, we actually get more than that. We do. But 20. The thing is, money's not everything, and your dream is not everything. I mean, if your dream, Sarah, is to do human resources, this is how you learn. Maybe you're learning how not to do it. Maybe you're learning, go, man, this feels like crap all the time. That light might ding and go, hey, I'm not going to do this when I'm in charge of human resources. I learned this is a better way to do it than what they're doing.
Or you may find that this is not what you want to do. My sister spent a little while studying to be a phlebotomist, and then got into doing it, and she's like, I don't want to do this. Why am I here? So she did something else. I want to say something that Rathburn in the chat room put out. Dream Hunter. I just have a mental picture of Morden and Charles dressed up like Elmer Fudd chasing some wispy clouds with shotguns.
See my response? I am Bugs Bunny in drag. Bugs Bunny always won, no matter what.
And you wear a lot of drag.
And all I do is win.
You still had to kill Summer Flood every episode.
Aha!
That's true. So, are you good? You want to keep going, or we?
I think we've talked this out unless anybody has anything else. Why don't we pimp everybody out? And I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight on The Other Side of Live. Russell, go ahead and pimp yourself out. Where can people find you? How would you like them to find you?
Oh, right. I've got a few different pages on Facebook right now.
Okay, mention 3.
3. I can mention 3. The first is just Russ Bennett for my comedian page, which I will also probably have a link up there to Now Are the Foxes, which is the improv troupe. And as far as the Renaissance Entertainment, Jonathan Oddfellow or the Fairly Oddfellows are two of the ones that you can get me at from there.
Nice. Nice. Billy, what do you got?
I have losinglikewinners.com is my main page. You can now, for the first week ever, find me on Facebook, facebook.com/losinglikewinners. You can find me on Twitter, Billy_L1. And if you're in the Charlotte area, December 17th, I will be at the Comedy Zone performing stand-up, and that is in the Music Factory.
And I'm assuming you still do your show? Does it still go on All Noise Radio?
That one does not currently, but I'm working on getting a time slot for All Noise Radio Charlotte.
Fired.
We'd like to get our show on All Noise Radio as well. I don't think they'll let us, though.
Sure you can.
They might.
Well, you're not a graduate, so I don't think you can.
No, but we have graduates on our show.
Not a graduate. This is true.
But we're the examples to achieve, right? Don't get paid to do what you love.
That's right, yo.
You're not going to get rich with your dream, I guess. That's what I've slowly determined. I never thought that I'd come graduate and instantly start making money or be a DJ or whatever, but eventually move into that. But at some point, I do want to get paid for this crap, is what I'm saying.
Well, you made the best point of you try everything. If somebody needs to do a board, you're on the board. If somebody needs editing, you're doing editing. That's exactly the path I took. You never know what doors are going to open because you became good at something where you can work yourself into, no, really, I'm not just a board jockey. I can hold my own on the microphone.
The goal was if I got hired by you and you was like, man, I wish I had somebody to operate a camera. I can do that.
Exactly.
Man, I don't know how to edit this. I can do that. I'm going to be sick this week, man. Somebody else has got to run the show. I can do that. Instead of outsourcing to somebody else, so my goal was to be an all-around individual.
Always say yes. Find a way to say yes. That's how I made my career at the office I was in. I was a go-to guy. I can do that.
And you're helping others be awesome. So you're making yourself useful, and people are going to remember you, and that's going to get you the gig. That's going to get you the job. Hey, when the chips were down, Billy was there. Hey, when we really needed help, Sarah was there. And Russ was there helping us out, and whenever we needed to do something else, let's hire him again. So that's how you're going to get that, and we haven't gotten to you yet, Anna. So we're not sure about you.
Yeah.
Anna, pimp yourself out. Where can people find you, or is there any way that you want them to?
You can't find me, honey. No, you can find me here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Hey!
And on Losing Like Winners, co-hosting with Billy.
You do have a demo on your site, don't you?
I do have a demo on my website, yes. Don't ask me what that is right now.
It's a secret website.
Secret website. No, I'm on Tumblr. I'm on about.me. You can find me. Just Google me.
Just Google Anna.
Just Google Anna.
You'll find Anna. That's how you'll find her.
Google images. Google images.
Google images.
So I also want to thank our very, very special guest, Sarah, for stepping in and putting her life out there for us to be able to take it apart.
I muted her, by the way.
Oh, you did?
She's been on mute for the last 30
say
minutes.
nothing. Ha, ha, ha. So thank you for listening to The Other Side of Live. We are going to go ahead and pimp ourselves out. We have been here at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, which, of course, you can figure out by Googling it. That's the answer to everything.
Go csb.com if you didn't know.
There you go.
And in the chat room, Angie put in the link to this campus, so we'll get that into our notes as well. So she'll send it.
Sweet. I think you have a couple days left to be able to vote for us in the general category on the Podcast Awards. Go to podcastawards.com and look for The Other Side of Live. We're the last one on the general category. You put that in, you put in your name, you put in your email, you hit submit. You go to your email, you verify. You can do that once a day, every day. And
it really actually takes about 30 seconds.
It does.
I mean, it takes longer to explain it.
We timed it.
And, yeah.
That's with good internet connection, though.
That's right. That's right. So if you are listening to the podcast, we are live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at...
Okay. So as he's talking about, we are live. I don't know if he reached down and pulled the handle.
My leg hit it.
Or he was adjusting himself. He hit the handle on his chair, and he went down about 4
Not adjusting
inches.
myself. My leg hit the handle, and I went down.
And of course, you can vote 7RC, 7th Row Center, under the movies category as well.
That's right, at the Podcast Awards. So we're live at theothersideoflive.com/NAS. Of course, the NAS stands for No Agenda Stream. If you're listening to us live, you want to check out some of our older podcasts, you can go to theothersideoflive.com. We're also available on iTunes.
And you know what helps us out? Christmas is coming. And I'm looking at everybody in the room. You're going to do shopping. If you do shopping on Amazon, go to theothersideoflive.com/Amazon. It doesn't cost you anything extra. and whatever you buy, we get a percentage back, and it really helps us with travel. Like today, travel expenses to come up here.
Yep.
You know, building the new websites.
Our trip to Vegas.
Our trip to Vegas, yeah. And the thing is, you're not having to donate. It's a tough economy. You're not donating. You're not having to, man, do I feed the kid or do I give them $5?
You're not spending any extra money than you were going to be spending anyways.
Right. But if it is a choice between the kid and us, you got to pay us. What is wrong with you? You know, we entertain, we teach. Your kid is not going to teach you how to do a better job. I'm just telling you. But no.
Your kids will be in school. We are in school. We're in a school.
Yeah. So Amazon, if you shop there, it would support us greatly, and we really appreciate it.
If not, you can always just buy something from Target. I think that's it. We're going to end this show. This has been the Charlotte version. What? There's more? Oh, my God.
We always forget we've got the video channel, TheOtherSideLive.com/YouTube.
No, that's right. If you want to listen to us on YouTube, the video channel, you can now.
With great pictures, like live from tonight. As we took pictures, they'll be on the next posting.
We have something else coming up, too. You want to tell them about that a little bit?
No. Okay. We haven't worked out the details, so no. We're good.
No.
So you might be able to listen to us on another video type thing.
But we're still working that out.
Yeah. So that's it. I think we're done now.
Wait.
What?
No. But wait, there's more for $19.99.
Thank you for listening to us on The Other Side of Live. If you stuck it out this long, get a life. And I think that's it. Thank you for my guests here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. CSB, and I think that's it. Bleep, bleep, bleep. That's all, folks. Ciao, dream catchers.
Excuse you.
What?
Do I need to turn this podcast around and take you home right now?
You need to edit that bomb that dropped out.
I didn't say anything. Did I say something bad?
This has been R. Mordant
and the official rock god of podcasting, Bear.
Ciao, dream catchers, or should I say, dream hunters. Boom, baby! Really, go get live. Really.